Okay, good morning to all of you. Namaskar, welcome once again for the second day session. So we will just start. Again, I welcome you all. We had a wonderful day yesterday. So we are expecting the same today because we have today two very, very renowned speakers, leaders in their own field. Before we start, I would like to welcome the chairperson of next session, Professor Padmavati Madam. She will chair the session. So I will just briefly tell her about. She is a professor at IIT Kharagpur. She teaches law and management. And I welcome Professor Padmavati Madam. Please take the stage.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. Very good morning to all of you here and all the distinguished audience. And we are happy that Pulvasan Madam is also still here with us. Very good morning to faculty, the chairman of the Partha Leadership Academy, and family, friends. I see them here. Very good morning, Jetli ji, and students here and the staff. It's a pleasure today to continue with the Women's Conclave on Leadership. This is a very important occasion, not only for the institution, but also for the country. As Professor Partha Ghosh mentioned, that these few steps are going to somewhere be a historical moment that will be recognized in future. So it is important for us to not only just recognize this, but also provide a lot of support to this. And with those words, I'd like to recite a Sanskrit sloka and begin the deliberation today. This is how Krishna tells Arjuna, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyeva vatmanam tushtasthita pragya tadochyate. So everything in this world starts with desire, but it is that desire that we need to keep it in limit. Because when desire crosses the limit, which is not very fruitful to the society, then it is where we see that the aberrations that are noticed. So, Sthita Pragya is what Krishna tells Arjuna to achieve in life. And with that motto, we would like to begin the deliberation today. I am very pleased as a group here, very honored to have the august presence of Dr. Manushi here. And it's my great pleasure to introduce to you all this distinguished speaker with whom we will be starting today the deliberation. So let me have the pleasure to introduce to you Professor Manushi Rao Chaudhary. Namaste, Madam. Professor Manushi Rao Chaudhary is a very big hand to you, yes. Professor Manushi Rao Chaudhary is the co-chairperson of Techno India Group. And this is a group which is now internationally also nationally recognized as a group for women empowerment. And the motto is very, very strong because she is addressing the aspect of education. And I think that is what we feel as the base to any society. And she has been a leading torchbearer in this area, establishing several schools, now into 20 and more, as I understand. Not only spread in the beginning with West Bengal and Madhya Pradesh, but steadily making the strides in other areas as well. Now, this is a very unique model in the Techno India group that she has developed. So it is to amalgamate the aspect of academics and culture and also bring forward the extracurricular activity when it comes to students. So it actually looks at a very holistic development when it comes to students. Personally, I think many of us have interacted with her yesterday and understood that she is also fostering the students who are not able to actually come forward even in the area of education because paying fees is a big thing and they cannot afford fees. So that is also the core aspect of where she is navigating the process of bringing them to the altar of education. She is the recipient of Mother Teresa International Award for Education And I think this is a very important aspect when it comes to the women who are actually bringing in self-reliance when it comes to education. And lately she's been honored the Atmanirbhar Award, Woman Achiever Award. A big round of applause to her, please, all of you. Her group has also been recognized in 2021 as the Best Chain of Schools Award by the ASSOCHAM. And her latest award is the Education Award 2022 by 24 Ghanta and Bharat Dignity Award also. Now, in the realm of private education, I think she is setting a big model, and that's something which all of us need to reckon. Now, she is not only a brainchild of bringing in education, but I think this is what is also the signature of her Techno India group, is bringing in mental awareness and inculcating psychological needs also into education. And this is something which is very important in the contemporary context of education, where we look at education as a holistic development, education with values. Jhore Jhore Jongale in Jhalkali is something where she's brought in unique effort when it comes to the ecotourism aspect, where education is also intermingled with that aspect, so that people actually also identify the value of certain aspects of where she is also taking some important leads in terms of addressing behavioral aspects and also coping up with stress. We are very grateful to you, madam, for accepting our invitation to be here with us. And without much ado, we really look forward to your wonderful deliberation as we go forward. We invite you to take the stage and give us your valued opinion on this area. Thank you so much.
A very good morning. A very, very good morning. You know, it means a lot to me. I was speaking to Dr. Ghosh and others as well. Coming, sharing the platform in IIT campus for a lady who has heard that she cannot look after engineering colleges only because I have a degree in bioscience and journalism and not engineering. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to express myself, to share my views, and to bring up much more numbers of leaders in a country like India, which is very, very much required. यदि मैं हिंदी में बोल सकती तो बहुत अच्छा होता था, पर हमको उतना अच्छा नहीं आता, so I have to actually talk in English. But next time, if I get an opportunity, I'll learn the language of Hindi in such a way that I can deliver my speech in Hindi. Thank you so much. Thank you, Partho Ghosh Academy of Leadership. Leaders are required. Yesterday I was speaking about 2611. Those were also leaders who helped the tourists from foreign countries and from the country itself to stay secured, to stay safe from Taj. And we all know how they helped people to be safe, and they did not quit. And do you know who they were? If you go for the studies, the reviews say that Taj had recruited these people, young ladies and gentlemen, from the suburbs of Maharashtra, MP, Bengal, Orissa, and not from the metros. I don't want to say that students or young generation from the cities and metros cannot be leaders or may not take a step. But I feel that these people from the suburbs have a lot to do. I've met Didi yesterday. What a character, what a journey she has. But she has come from those areas. And that shows India actually is built up of cities, metros, metro rails, but villages. The farmers who supplies us with the food are the most important personalities for whom we are here today standing to say that I'm an Indian. My stomach is well fed. So we should be proud that people like those in the farms are there and help us to survive. From where should I start? You see Manushi Rai Chaudhary in a leadership talk on the podium. But this lady was not that same girl who was in her classes. When a teacher asked a question, my hand was just this much. I knew the answer. I was sincere in my studies. I knew the answer. But I did not have that confidence to put my hand high up and say, "Ma'am, I also know it." And whenever the students replied, my voice was, "I also knew the answer." That was it. But now we understand you have to speak up. You have to let people know that you know. It's not that you know the subject, how much confidence you have to speak up. So let me go back about 65 years back. A young man who was from Bishnupur, Bankura district, very near to Kharagpur. He completed his physics honors from Scottish Church College in Kolkata. He wanted to be an engineer, but his dad did not want to. His dad wanted him to be a doctor. He did not give a message. He just told, for the first time in his life, he told a lie. "Papa, I want to be a doctor, and I want to go for higher studies outside." He went off, admission fees paid, admitted himself to Glasgow University in mining engineering, mind it. He started, it was almost 8 months complete. Then his father got a message from one of his batchmates that he is not doing his medical sciences, he's there for mining engineering. So his dad stopped the fees for him. He has to come back. I wanted him to be a doctor. But his son was also not going to quit. He started giving lessons to his landlady's son and daughter. Enough money he could make to continue and complete with his studies. After almost another 5-6 months, when this father came to know, he said, "I say sorry, and I continue with the money so that my son can complete his studies." He was there in UK, in London for almost 11 years, came back, taking positions in the coal fields of India, Dhanbad, Bilaspur, Asansol, Durgapur, Raniganj. He is my dad. And I'm so blessed, I feel so fortunate that a daughter can have such a dad, such a father, in spite of coming from Bishnupur to Scottish Church. He could show, dream for yourself, believe in yourself, and make your dreams come true. My dad got married to a beautiful young lady from Raipur, Nagpur, who was very culturally aligned in those days. Again, a graduate in economics. But they had 3 daughters, one after another. Every time my parents had to hear, इस फैमिली में तो खाली लड़की है, तीनों लड़की है, इसको माँ का कितना दुख है, इसको पापा का कितना दुख है, क्या होगा? What will happen to the baton from Professor K.D. Mondol? Where will he put it? My dad took an oath. He was a fantastic lawn tennis player, fantastic badminton player. And he told, I'm going to make 3 sons out of my 3 daughters. And that is when he started teaching us driving, badminton, lawn tennis, and to speak up, to be bold. But you know, by nature, you cannot immediately change a child. So I was by nature always introvert, soft-spoken, in the corner, and attending, listening, observing, but not speaking much. Days passed. I was in Loreto Convent, Asansol, one of the best schools in Asansol, and our nuns had taught us a lot. It was the values, it was the etiquettes, the mannerisms, which we are supposed to carry even now. I came to Loreto House in Kolkata, but in those days, conservative family, parents were thinking, what will my child do in Kolkata, from Asansol, from Durgapur? So, again, after having the dresses, attending a few classes, I was taken aback to KV School, Durgapur, CMERI, Durgapur. But you know, God has always something in store for you which is good. And parents always take the right decisions. After Loreto, KV was such a platform for me when I came to know about India, about the middle class families, about the ones who are deprived, who are not privileged also. So it was a combo between the nuns from Ireland and the teachers from KV. Graduation complete, master's complete. I had done my master's in zoology. Just after completing my graduation, not even the results out, I was married to Mr. Gautam Roy Chaudhary. He is a person who had, though done his industrial engineering from Bombay IIT, went to telco, got a fantastic job with highly packed salary. He was there in Pune for 5 to 6 days. Went back to the HOD and said, sir, if you understand Bengali, I like to say the same line here. Sir, Amina, অন্যদের কথা শুনে কাজ করতে পারবো না. I need group of people who would follow my instructions. He went back to his hometown. Just 5 to 6 days in telco. Went back to his hometown in Hooghly. He built a garage. This is everything before my marriage. He built a garage in Hooghly. It may accommodate 2 to 3 cars. The garage is still there now. 2 to 3 cars, and he had to hear day after day, Gautam, তোমার তো একটা বাইকও নেই, তোমার একটা সাইকেল আছে, আর তুমি 3টে গাড়ির জন্য গ্যারাজ বানিয়েছো. You don't even have a bike, and you have made a garage for 3 cars. He forever is silent and does his work silently. He had only 50 rupees in his pocket, took a loan, bought 3 computers, set them, and started the first ever computer training center in his garage. And it rolled on. He started 72 college computer centers with the government in the whole of West Bengal. People did not talk about what the garage was meant for. He went to the CM then, Jyoti Basu, and told, "Sir, আমায় একটা চান্স দেবেন? আমি জাস্ট যেই ট্রেনগুলো বেঙ্গল থেকে সাউথ ইন্ডিয়া চলে যাচ্ছে, সেই ট্রেনগুলোর ইঞ্জিনগুলোকে কলকাতায়, বেঙ্গলে ঘোরাতে চাই। Why should the intellect and intelligent minds go to south of India? We also can provide." Much of protest, much of obstruction, and came up the first ever private engineering college, Netaji Subhash Engineering College in Kolkata, and the first JV model college in Asansol with GIS group. That was the start. Colleges came up one after another. We were working together. I had just started my work with Netaji College. Before that, I was a mother of a child. And I even remember when I was in my family way, my master's exams were due. 3 months waiting. My relatives asked me not to give the exams because I was in Kolkata, my exams were in Burdwan. But I told, once started, I am going to do it. I completed my master's, I came back, I went to Bilaspur to my mom's place, had the delivery, and I can say I was a proud mom of Meghdut Roy Chaudhary. Now, maybe he's known to many students, but when I was in Netaji, I gave birth to my daughter. I continued my job, but I was very new to the job. My dad, Professor Mondol, being the honorary professor in Bilaspur College as well, had taken over as the founder director in Netaji. With Gautam Roy Chaudhary, they were always there, searching for lands, going for buildings, searching for good teachers, because it was our first step for Netaji. But believe it, I should be very honest. First few months, I used to feel so sleepy. Ki korar ache. My dad was working, my husband was working, and I used to think, kokhon bari jabe ebare. But I was there with them whenever they were in office. That was my starting. Slowly, when you start getting involved with the job, I started taking interest in administration. It was being beside my husband to make his dreams come true. That was all I wanted. After 2-3 years of starting to take over administration, for the first time, I'm going to disclose a point. My son has told me that, Ma, when you're going for such a session, be honest. Don't tell something which may please your audience. Always tell something which you tell me in my ears when you have felt hurt. So today I would say, after 3 years in Netaji, one day I go to my office and I see my chair in my room occupied by another person. I come back, after which I was persuaded to go to Netaji, and I told, sorry. I may be soft, I may be decent, but I have my own dignity. I did not go back to Netaji College. I started my schools. So once you face a challenge, it makes you even stronger. And I felt this is my platter. Bringing up schools from the first brick, from the first principle, from the total modules, the syllabus, CBSE curriculum, teachers, principals. I started first, it was called, it's a pre-college school, just before college 11 and 12. And then my first K-12 school in Hooghly. And then it rolled on. It was schools after schools, and GRC was with colleges after colleges. Even the first private university was there, Techno India University. GRC's dreams coming true. And I'm going ahead with my schools. Once there was some misconduct between two groups of students in the university. I remember my people in the office continuous ringing me, ma'am, please leave the office, because these children, I don't know why, they are so agitated, so your security may be at stake. And I told, no, why should I leave? We should create a solution for my students. We should know what is the problem. Why will I leave? And they told me, ma'am, because you're a lady. I told, what's the difference between a lady and a man? What is that you can do and I cannot? So I'll go to the ground and see what happens. Ma'am, they may also, throw stones at you. They may hurt you. And believe it, I went there. They just told me, ma'am, can you take the car and leave the premises? I told, definitely. If you want us, we'll do it. But I have my schools running. If you are asking me to leave the premises, being the students, because there's some misconduct in the college, let me call a motivational speaker. He is very attached to me, Mr. Mrinal Chakravarti, and he treats these Olympic players, hockey players, takes motivational classes, and he's doing wonders. So he is coming to my schools to motivate my students in the school. But I think now you should need that motivational class. On the road, they committed. They are sorry, not a stone, not a stick. And next week, Tuesday, I conducted the session with Mr. Chakraborty. You could see the total conference hall packed with students. They wanted to have the session. And I told, you can come over, my office people, and see that there's no difference between a man and a woman. We can do it. Only you have to believe in yourself. Thanks to all our parents, thanks to all our teachers, and thanks to all our students. Techno India Group Public Schools started with that aim to give the best of education in all the district levels. Not a single school is in my Tier 1 cities. They are in Goria, in Aryadaho, in the interiors. And you won't believe, one day a parent with it's a pot where you carry water. She comes, she's the wife of a rickshawala. And she comes and asks the security guard in the school, after maybe 3-4 years of running, can I get admission in this school? So the teacher told to the principal, okay, let us talk to the administration. This point came to my table, and I told, why not? It was continuous 11 meetings with the teachers. I had to convince them Definitely, they were true in the sense, how can the students, the daughters and sons of lawyers, doctors, engineers, share the same classroom with them because they are not having the capability of proper mannerisms, proper words, bhalo kotha bolto na. Well, it's not their fault. They are first generation learners. Tale amra Indian keno bolbo nijederke? If we cannot teach these students education, culture, then actually we are not Indians. We are only catering to a premier group of schools. That cannot be. Ultimately, my teachers said, okay, ma'am. They even wanted a different section. And I told no. Ekta bhalo jinisher shathe, when you have a good association, a good thing with a bad thing, I believe if you're positive, if you have that positive attitude, the good thing will contribute the goodness to the bad so that the bad becomes good. And never do you think a child can be bad. It's the ambience, it's the environment which is not helping them to educate in a proper manner. What is education about? Is it only about studies? Is it only about getting a 99% and saying, আমি এই কলেজে ভর্তি হয়েছি, আমি এত percentage পেয়েছি, I'm in Infosys, I'm in ITC? No. It's much, much more than that. It is about being a proper human being. What if I have something which the others do not have? Should we not spread our hands, help them to come up? That is education. It's not the marks. And many years back, it was when we felt that the first year, I remember it was in my school annual program, and I asked them, let us have a fantastic annual program, booked a hall. It was my first experience. I was not into it. I was into the academic part, the teachers, the students. And when I went to the program, I was amazed, not positively, but negatively. The starting of the program is with a Madhuri Dixit dance, a song from a Hindi commercial film. I went through the total program. It's not about I'm complaining against the students. It's about we learn that we have to guide our children. We have to let them know how a program is being conducted. And now, if you see the best of programs, starting from Rabindranath Tagore to Vivekananda, to eminent personalities, to eminent singers, for sitar, for tabla, because we belong to India. We should never forget the heritage of India. We should always get connected with English communication, but the culture and heritage is our pride. Even when I started with looking after my colleges and universities, just 4 years back, the university, the colleges is doing fabulous. They have started understanding that they need to stand proud as an Indian. Last month, they had called in Lamart's as the chief guest. I was addressing the children and I bluntly told, you have a fantastic result, you go to an eminent college, you have a fantastic job. But if you go for higher studies outside, take the best, but do come back to serve your nation. I think that adds a lot. You may not get a very good road to drive a car fast. You may not get those 39 stories or 59 stories office buildings or residential flats. You may not get a spick-spank clean country in India. but we can make our India clean. We can make it even beautiful when young minds are back to their country. We should always be learners. I remember after 30 years, due to this WhatsApp, social medias, mailings, Twitters, etc., we, students of our schools, our classmates, created two groups. One was from KV, one was from Loreto. And I remember they were always talking about beautiful things in our school days, but everything is related to when I was in 11, when I was in 12. And I always had an habit. I love flowers. I love nature. In the morning, I'm always out for a morning walk, having 10 to 12 photographs, sending it, sharing it in the groups, so that I feel good and they also feel good. Even like I didn't get a time today to post it in the group, my friends would give a call to say, Manushi, tumi bhalo acho to? Because we miss that sunny sky, we miss those flowers in the group. But I always have a habit of saying, if someone else's post, what is the name of this flower? Ami to eta age kokhono dekhini. And they used to tell, are you a student now? Also. But I think to remain young, to always be motivated, always be a learner. You will always feel young from heart. Always be curious of what's happening beside you. I've learnt it throughout these years. And ultimately, we are blessed to be together after those 2 years. To face our close ones, to face people, talk face to face is something so very important. We went through that phase of 2.5 years where we say, definitely we have lost so many important people, close people, but much to gain from those 2.5 years. Our students who started their classes, they were feeling so down inside those 4 walls. We had to create our own LMS system by the IT department. We started schools in such a manner that they do not feel that they are not having their schools. We had schools which are in the district levels, parents going to the shops, open their small shops. They do not have a second set. They have only one mobile. If they hand it over to the child, then what happens to his business? So we started taking extra classes in the evening after the father returns back to have another online class for these special children. They are equally important. And thank you so much, I say it in every platform, to my teachers. They were not so habituated with this online coaching. They groomed themselves with our IT department, and they were delivering classes, not only a physics, a maths, or a history class. They were having their tiffin break. They were having their dance classes. I should proudly say here, we have Dona Ganguly to teach Orisi dance. We have Brotuti. We have Brotuti to teach Bengali elocution from Rabindranath Tagore. We have Sraboni Sen to teach Rabindra Sangeet, so that they can understand from where do we belong. These classes continued online in our schools, and moms prepared the food. The tiffin was taken during the classes online with the teachers. I wanted to have a real model of an online school, but then too, the teachers, the parents started calling up. the students were feeling very, very down. I could not sleep for almost a week. And again then, I started with the first mental wellness platform, Monoshij. It is actually doing so much, not only in-house for my students, my teachers, the parents even, because many parents have to do work from home. The ladies are doing the food, the helps are not in the house due to COVID. They have to prepare the food in the kitchen, getting up early, then help the child with the online classes, doing her work in the laptop. Parents started connecting my mental wellness platform. And then, again, that sunny day came. One day I get a call, if you all are aware of NKDA, that is Newtown, the Debashish Sen project, if you all are aware. It's the smart city in Bengal which has taken a great shape under his leadership. So one day he calls me, Ma'am Roy Chaudhary, can we have a coffee in my office? I have something to discuss. I was there having coffee, and I'm thinking maybe he's going to have some program where we can work together. And he says, I have an elderly home called Monoshij in Newtown. 223 elderly people, and their children are either in New York or in Amsterdam or in London. They are very, very lonely. Can Monoshij do something for them? I told her, why not? I did not even think of these elderly people who are the most important sectors of the society. Because of them, we are here today. Because of them, my children get that love from their grandparents. So I planned out what to do, called up Brutati, called up Shravani, because it's not only lessons which worked for them. We had our masks, 2 masks, worn to enter their premises. And we had a wonderful quiz arranged by my students. My teachers were very much there. From all those old films, movies, songs, poems, and you could see those 223 elderly people jumping from their chairs. Whenever the question is asked, do you remember our school days? They were jumping and saying, Ami Parbo, can I give the answer? We could bring that motivation into those 70 plus, 80 plus people. Yes, and I feel it from my soul. Then I asked Brutati, now it's your part. And she gave a half an hour session of those famous poems from Kobi Guru, from Joy Sarkar, many, many important articles which she does it by her own. And these elderly people were just touched. They could not even speak for the next half an hour. When I came back, I felt you can give chocolates to bring a smile to a face of a child. But I did not believe you can bring smiles to these people who were so tensed. আমার ছেলে কেমন আছে, আমার ছেলে কি দেশে আদৌ ফিরবে, কোভিডে তারা ভালো আছে কিনা. I could at least do something with my Monoshij's team. And the next session was the club of the elderly. It's called Shopnobhor. He gave me a huge ground where again quiz and ended with Shravani's songs. If you see the last video, Akash Bhara Surjo Tara was being sung by her and all those elderly people. They were crying. They were just crying on the green ground. That we feel blessed that we are alive till date after that splash of COVID. Ultimately, he again called me, Mr. Debashish Sen, Ma'am, let us start something in a regular way. COVID was off, and feel proud to say my monoshij goes to Snehodia every Thursday. Every Thursday, we have 8 of our college students, university students with the monoshij team. Because Mr. Sen said that, ma'am, they are not meeting their children, they are not meeting their grandchildren even. So your students can play that role. And the elderly day was last month. So I had asked Shoikot, tumi ektu gaan shonabe oderke. So he immediately said yes. We had a 2 hours old song session, Hindi, Bengali. And what they said was, ma'am, do you know, we get ready on Thursdays very fast after our lunch. And we say, let's go, it's a fun day. Don't you think we have attained so much through their satisfaction, through their well-being? I think it's a great thing. As students, many of y'all are students, I would love if y'all can also get associated. I'm proud to say my college students, they have also told me, ma'am, make us a part of monoshij. They are doing brilliant jobs. Their CSR projects with people of orphanages, young children who do not have their parents, they are working together. So let us have that feeling for every person beside you, be it a small one, be it an elderly one, being maybe an established one, a one who needs help. It's a great satisfaction. You can buy a car, good model car, you can have a fantastic house for yourself, but these are the assets you're going to carry back. Then comes Sundarbans. You've heard of Sundarbans? The mangroves in Sundarbans in West Bengal is one of the most important tourist places. It was long back. It was about 7 years back when Techno India Group had a joint venture and the government had given us a land and we were supposed to do an ecotourism resort. I was not into it, not the project. I was very much into my schools and slowly the college, etc. During the COVID, we wanted to go to a place which does not take us by a plane. We wanted to drive. And then suddenly I come to know that that project is lying idle, half built. Ma'am, ki kore hobe ekhon to COVID? Amlam okay, COVID to ki hoyeche? Ami ekটু ঘুরে আসবো. We had a team. I had my son with me and his friends. I always like young energy. And my daughter-in-law was not there in town. She was with her mom and dad in France. I took this team and went to Sundarbans. I was amazed. 50% job is done and it's lying idle for almost 5 years. I came back. Next Monday, had a meeting with the project. Why not? Keno hocche na? Na, ashole COVID. Amlam, COVID is the best time. People would love to go to a place, buy a car with family and friends. You're not being able to take a plane. I started visiting the place. I will invite you to, the name is Jhore Jole Jangole. It's an ecotourism resort in Sundarbans. And I've taken the concept of Bengal. We have 8 blocks, each named after a district by the names given by Rabindranath Tagore. And the concept is totally Bengal. I have my humanities teachers going every month to a district to connect with the songs, the dances, the culture of that district, and bringing back artifacts and products from those districts. Last one was Purulia. We are yet to go to North Bengal and complete, and we are having all those masks from Purulia being set up, all those terracotta products from Bankura districts being set up, and I had even Gori Basu, ZCC director then, now she's in Delhi, from the Ministry of Culture. She was amazed. They are helping me a lot now. My teachers were there, and because I'm a person from education, how to start the business. You can see every month we have 60 to 80 students from schools going to Sundarban district to my resort. They take a drive with the launch, and finally they go for a geography session to the mangroves and a social affair with the village people. We are having schools there where the children are being taken care of by Monoshij. I feel if you have it in mind, you can do it. Only the thing is, enjoy what you do. Give your best. You cannot do anything if you do not like. It's not that you do not have a knowledge. You can aspire for the knowledge. You can attain the knowledge. By speaking to people, net is again a fantastic way of delivery, reading about it. But first you need that enthusiasm, that energy, which will help you to develop the project. I was of such a type before COVID. I never used to travel without my family. I felt guilty. I think every woman here will feel the same. My husband is not with me, I should not go. My daughter is not with me, I should not go. My son came back from HEC Paris after his entrepreneurship management courses, bringing back a beautiful French lady as my daughter-in-law. She's learning Bengali now. And they had sessions with me. Ma, why don't you travel alone? I told I don't feel like. Because if my family is not there, then how will I enjoy? Dr. Gautam Roy Choudhury fell ill. He was fine in the house, but he was not being able to travel outside. My birthday came in November. They just booked tickets to Goa. And when I saw, it was just 3 tickets. And I told, what about Bapi and Bonti? And they told me, it's your birthday, Ma. It's not Daddy's birthday. We want to give you a surprise visit. I went. I enjoyed with them. I came back. Why I want to mention is, it helped me to come out and be myself. I love traveling. If I love it, if I have a scope, take that scope. As yesterday the speaker was telling, I have to control my kitchen and I have to go out as well. But I have to do both of them together. And I think that is where women excel. They know how to balance. They know how to work with empathy. They know how to understand each other. I'm not telling men do not. But somewhere, women minds are a bit different. Amra বুঝি বেশি, যাকে বলে মায়ের মন. Even in office, after COVID, we had a mass vaccination camp from Techno India Group. We have our hospital, we have our medical sections as well. And it was a huge vaccination camp with our Dharma hospital. And our nursing department, students and teachers were the main base to carry it ahead. And they started calling me Florence Nightingale of Techno India Group. And I felt so good. It's just giving light during times of darkness. Now when I compare that Manushi Roy Choudhury from school, after college, entering Netaji, and this Manushi Roy Choudhury, it's so, so very different. It's said there are 3 types of leadership. Leadership about autocratic, you can be bureaucratic, and one is when you share your suggestions, take suggestions and go for a totally combined idea which comes up. I believe in the third one. Whenever there's a decision taken, if you sit with a group, you start hearing from them, I think you can get the best of the decisions. Each have their own word. But when I'm talking from here, I can only see this part. When you are talking from there, you see that part. We need to see both the parts, and that gives you the best decision. A leader, I feel, is one who travels in front, but when you are having your group with you, you can perform much better. We as ladies face one common question. I had faced it about 5-6 years back. Maybe they are not being able to tell it in front of me in my room, but ma'am ki kore parbe, because she's a lady. It's better I do not tell that I can do it. It's better I do it and tell that it has been done. And I think women can do it equally well. So I'm so indebted to my parents, to my in-laws. I forgot a very important point. When I was married, just before that, my father-in-law had asked me, you can ask for just one thing. What do you want when you come to my family? And I had told, I have only completed my graduation, even my marks are not out. Can I complete whatever I want to with my higher studies? Everything was seen to. I'm so blessed to have my in-laws to support me, Mr. Gautam Roy Choudhury, to be by my side. He was always there for education. And thankful to my son, to my daughter. I even remember when I'm going outside, I generally don't wear anything other than Westerns, Indo-Westerns. But when I'm in office or beside office, I do not wear anything other than sari. One day my daughter came and told, "Ma, why so?" And I told that I don't feel okay. She told, you go to the mirror, you see yourself. If you feel that you are okay, you look good, do not think of what people say around you. And that is why I'm thankful to bring back the confidence in me for my daughter, my son, and the total group of Techno India who was there even during those 2 years to make me believe that I, as a woman, can do it. So nowadays, I always say, it's not that I have 3 children, daughter-in-law, daughter, and son. I have 1 lakh children. All my students from my schools, my colleges, my universities, let them bring the flag of Techno India high, high up. But yes, feel so fortunate to be in the platform in IIT campus to share my thoughts. Thanks again to the Academy of Leadership so that I could share what I have been through and my journey. Thanks so, so much for giving a patient hearing and being there. Thank you so much.
grateful to you, madam, for having given us a very outstanding view into your work, spanning a lot of time, and also some very important insights. I think there's a lot to learn from how to keep persevering and how to stay on, with taking forward and challenges in that. So I think now we have time for a few question and answers. I request the audience if you have a few questions. I have
Hello,
one
ma'am.
for madam, but I'll wait for that.
Remembering questions, I will present my books to her. Okay, fine, yeah. Please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. I am Shantanu, and my question for you is regarding the subjects that are generally taught in school. We have a subject, history, which gives a certain bias to us, and how about introducing another subject like future, where we can understand how we are progressing and allowing the children to understand the future aspects of climate change and how this can be developed further, so that we can bring in new technologies which are coming up in other countries faster and develop it indigenously.
Thank you so much. It's a brilliant question. And maybe I forgot one aspect. We have already started with environment, saving environment, and sustainability. I think that's one of the most important features for the future. And future as such should be taught to the students, not only to be environment friendly, also again to give them a clean, a proper environment and country to them. We can definitely talk about it. The NEP itself has made so many changes where again these type of chapters, these type of modules are taken care of, and I'll keep it in mind. As such, it is very important that we describe future in such a way where science, where technology, where AI, where sustainable goals all has to be kept in mind. But thank you, this is really a good suggestion and a question from your end.
Okay, madam, if there are no questions, let me present one book from Mr. R.N. Khanna ji, who is 1962 graduate from this place. His book is Garage to the Globe. He is an IIT Kharagpur person based at Delhi. And he has made the biggest manufacturing hub in India of the electrical equipment, exporting to 85 countries, control and switchgear company. Mr. R.N. Khanna ji. Madam ji, aapke liye book. And here is another book by a very small fry. His name is Commander V.K. Jetli, who is standing in front of you. The name of the book is We Can, We Can. And in 3 lines, I will explain the book. It's written here, Barack Obama said, yes, we can. Narendra Modi said, we can. This book tells you how we can. Now the main presentation, please.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Ghosh, Professor Vasne, and Commander Jetli to facilitate our guest speaker today with a small memento from the Partha Ghosh Academy of Leadership. Please, sir, please. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Padmavati Madam to introduce our next guest speaker.
अच्छा, before Padmavati Madam introduces, Madam आ जाइए, no problem. मैं यहीं का ही हूँ, don't worry. Now, I see good number of first year students are here. Being another, alumni from this place, RK Hall 79 batch, मेरी एक छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट है आप लोगों से. While we are celebrating the women leaders of this country, the top leaders, let me tell you, they are the top leaders. Some of you have heard 3 of them yesterday. Great. And we have only 2 of them today. And the next speaker who is going to come here, I tell you, is again mind-boggling. अभी जिनको आपने सुना, मैं उनका एक एक शब्द सुन रहा था, बहुत ही मजा आ रहा था सुनते हुए. लेकिन मैं पीछे बैठ के देख रहा था कि मेरे ही दोस्त CCIT खड़गपुर के हमारे अपने बच्चे मोबाइल के ऊपर लगे हुए थे, कुछ अभी भी लगे हुए हैं. जब मैं बोल रहा हूं, इधर देखो, ओ मास्टर इधर देखिए, मोबाइल को बंद कर दीजिए. ओके, व्हेन somebody is speaking here, it's a great opportunity for you to listen to such great ladies, the leaders of this country. मोबाइल आप अपने रूम में भी जाकर के देख सकते हो. I feel bad. These people have come all the way. And some of you physically are present here, but mentally inside the mobile. मैडम एक बहुत सीरियस चीज बता रहे थे, विकलांग बच्चों के लिए इस क्या किया, ये किया, वो किया, और एक सज्जन पीछे बैठे हुए स्माइल कर रहे थे क्योंकि उनकी नजर मोबाइल के ऊपर थी. किसी ने व्हाट्सएप मैसेज भेजा हुआ था. प्लीज डोंट माइंड दिस harsh words from me. But if somebody is standing here, it's a basic etiquette that you listen to him or her, whoever is here, with full attention. Good number of you may be research scholars, you may be final year, you may be first year, whatever it is. This is a place where you have to learn these manners. So my request to all of you is, kindly switch off your mobiles. Not only just zero volume, because vibration mode maybe it will disturb you, and listen with full attention to the next speaker. Madam, please. Thank you.
I once again take the privilege of introducing to you our next speaker. Please keep your eyes on, and we are also very glad and honored today to have with us Dr. Tessie Thomas. She's a distinguished scientist and Director General Aeronautical Systems, and she obtained her BTech from the Government Engineering College of Trichur in Electrical Engineering in 1985, went on to do a Master's in Engineering in Guided Missiles from the Institute of Armament Technology, now which is the Defense Institute of Advanced Technology, Pune, in 1986, and then PhD in EEE Missile Guidance from JNTU, Hyderabad in 2014. Whereupon, after that, she went on to do her MBA in Operations Management in the year 2007. She joined as a faculty member in Guided Missiles in the year 1986. You can see the very consistent interest, as we can see from her engineering itself, where she wanted to be in the area of what we say now, the space. So she joined the DRDL in Hyderabad in 1988 and has been associated with the EGNI program right from its inception. And where the entire effort has been into energy management guidance scheme when it comes to design and development of the first time in the country where solid propelled long-range systems were into place. In a work which spanned around 34 years, she is the person who has led the major project Agni 4. Please put your hands together for a warm welcome to Madam. And as the director of the Advanced Systems Laboratory, DRDO, she had a very, very important role, which is a multidimensional role, not only leading the strategic mission and planning, but also being a very effective team leader, dealing with the aspect of design, development of the state-of-the-art UAVs, and in several other areas of technologies. She is the first woman member of the IIT Council nominated by the President of India and the Ministry of Education. She has numerous awards to her credit and also has been on important committees. I will just, for the want of time, only name a few, madam. The DRDO Technology Leadership Award 2019, DRDO Agni Award for Excellence in Self-Reliance 2001. I'm sorry, I think this is possibly a wrong one. If you can correct me, I do not know. It's coming later in the queue. Lokmanya Tilak National Award 2022, DRDO Award for Path-Breaking Research, Outstanding Technology Development, Madam Curie Award in 2012 by the 5th National Women's Science Congress. She is also honored to be, she was also recognized as the first missile woman of India from the Honorable President of India as an exceptional woman who has broken the barriers, to be first in these fields which women were not really a part of. So the Missile Bhushan Samman by the Vigyan Parishad Prayog is yet another thing in her crown. She's also been honored by IIT Kharagpur earlier as Doctor of Science Honoris Causa in 2021. So we welcome the Missile Woman of India, as you are very popularly known, ma'am. I must also tell you that there are a lot of children of the campus also in your talk today, along with students. Welcome, madam, and we are looking forward to your speech.
Thank you, Padmavati ma'am, for the introduction of me to this audience. I have a presentation here. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank IIT Kharagpur and Professor Partha Ghosh in calling me here. In fact, I wanted to attend both the 2 days conference, Conclave, but due to some other commitment, I couldn't be there yesterday. Yeah. I think is it visible? Yes. So, the topic is women in leadership. Some lights can be switched off, fine. Now, when we look at women in leadership and present scenario, I just wanted to start with the theme, time is changing. That is words of Swami Vivekananda. He says, it's impossible to think about the welfare of the world unless the condition of women is improved. Today, the women constitute more than 50% in the world's population and performs 60% of the world work, owns only 1% of the world's land. That is, properties are registered in women, it's only 1%, earns just 10% of the world's income. So that is the status of women in this world. What are the constraints? Starting, if you look at from our own family, starts with family commitments, traditional mindsets, like Professor Manoshi was mentioning. It's all in the mind of the people that a lady cannot perform. So that mindset, then we are feeling that our environment is not safe enough for the girls to come out and work. Continuing influence of bias at home. If two children, one boy and a girl, always boys gets the advantage of going ahead in education or be it any of the activities. Then we lack real role models and models and mentors who can change our attitude. The support system, what we have, be it at home or at the college or institutions, wherever, may not be there to encourage us. Then building the decision-making capability that one has to, I'll get upon this in my few further slides. And the environment in which we are brought. Definitely it makes a difference when you are in an institutional environment of IIT and all, where everything is looked at with a positive attitude. So the environment in which we are growing, mostly we'll find a doctor, son or daughter will take up doctor as a field, or engineers field. But it again, everything starts from home. So when you look at the world, how can we change this world? It has to start from your own house, and as it has to be initiated at home, it has to be propagated during your school days, and it has to be promoted while you are on your job. That's how one can make this difference. Then only the social and the behavioral changes will happen. As are said by our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhiji, when you educate a girl child, you educate the whole nation. Otherwise, it is only the individual who gets the education. Now, let us define women with few features or the qualities. She is responsible, has a very creative talent, passion, very passionate to the work of whatever done, highly committed, lot of perseverance to complete the job. If taken up a job, the perseverance goes along with the dedication, and mostly, and women are very honest in their dealings. Then comes the one very important factor, the emotional intelligence. When I say emotional intelligence, it is to do with the ability to understand one's own need and the feelings of the other person who is right in front of you, and manage one's own feeling, respond to the other person in an appropriate way. So to have such a capability developed, understanding both the people in front of you and then acting or reacting to in an intelligent way, we need to have qualities like self-motivation, self-empathy, self-esteem, and self-decision-making capability, and self-commitment. I used so many self. Yes, unless otherwise, as an individual you take up, then along with interpersonal awareness, so you cannot forget the environment wherein you are or the surrounding. Along with this emotional intelligent quality or the awareness and the techno knowledge what you acquire by learning, along with leadership qualities. If you are a person with all this emotional intelligence, technology know-how, and leadership qualities, you are an empowered person. We look for leaders who, leaders are already in their empowered state, so that is what we look for, how to develop this. Next. We see two types of people wherein in our life. It all begins from the mindset. Let's say the fixed mindset, it's listed out, avoid challenges, very cool. Whereas we should look at the growing mindset, where we feel that we all learn and acquire knowledge. Always we welcome challenges. Challenges are looked upon as opportunity to learn. Perseverance, put effort to achieve something so that we master that. Learn from criticism. This is another thing which we should keep in mind. Yes, nobody is super natural. There can be criticisms, learn from criticism, and be inspired by others' success. If someone else is succeeding, there is some quality in that particular person who is making him or her a successful person. Next. So when I look up as a leader, it's to do with a technology leader. So where we need to have an upper hand in mastering the technologies. Those are the challenges what we then learn to build the credibility. That means even though you are learned, there is sustainability of your knowledge and credibility. So that you need to create that momentum and manage oneself. That is personal equilibrium has to be there, the amount of work what we do. Next. When we look at management of high-end technology, I am talking about technologies which I was dealing with, that is to do with the Agni class of technologies, design and development of strategic systems, weapons of requirement. There are 4 factors, like one is the technology management. We started, for me, I started my career in way back in 1985-86. If you think about the avionics of those days and present day, so we had to go through lot of technology maturity level and the risk factors involved, and we need to plan for the obsolescence. We started with our first computer, onboard computer based 8086 processor based. Today, I don't think any one of you can get a single processor of 8086. That's how the technology changes. We have matured from that to 486 based PCs, power PCs, system on chip. Today, the smaller ones, tiny ones, does the job of multiple operations. That's the capability, and we need to also change over, switch over. So technology management and learning of the technology and establishing and developing systems. Then the second factor is the man management, that is where an individual makes the difference in any management. Communication, interfacing, total organization. It's not leader is there, yes, but it's the environment and the team what makes the difference. So the right people requirement it comes. Then comes the time management, where we need to complete the task in a scheduled time. Then the product management, even though we make a product, it has to be as per the user requirements. When we talk about strategic systems from defense point of view, it has all the 3 services, we work for their requirement. So it has to be field worthy and a quality system which meets all the requirements. Just getting into some of the management in R&D or the research, we find the project director's role in to need to have not only the technology knowledge, it has to be a mix of techno-managerial qualities. Because we need to, as a project, the planning starts by the objectives or the goal, what is to be, what we want to achieve, proper planning and decision-making capabilities, willing to pay price, that is taking risk. These are to do with technologies of first of its kind. So it may work, it may not work. So you need to take multiple options and the risk involved in developing technologies for the first time. A country like ours, we didn't have many of the resources. So a learning curve in raw material onwards. So iterations keep happening. And then as a project director, we need to deal with different situations. One has to be, attitude has to be progressive in nature. We should not stop when something is not happening. There has to be always job satisfaction. This one very important thing is that you should follow your own intuition. People can teach you to some level. Being a leader or a project director, you have to have your own intuitive capability to decide at some point of time that how to go about it. So that is one very important, and no excuses to failures. Failures do happen. Fail in Dr. Abdul Kalam's statement is first attempt in learning. So if we are doing first time things, there can be such events, and then only you can be self-reliant as a leader. So techno-managerial capability I simply represent by a equation, straight line equation, y equal to mx plus c, which every one of you understand. You need to have a constant path of managerial capability in terms of performance and a technological growth which will make you with a upward slope and achieve that. That is one is a requirement as far as a research leader requires in education as well as in the research field. So I spoke about the other one more factor as the man management. If you look at that, it is right people at the right place. So project directors are chosen based on certain of their techno-managerial skills, but the individual, all individual or the team has to be built. Every individual has to be motivated to have a sustained output, building teamwork capability, and we need to award the real people who wants. So it's to do with balancing the career and the home front for a woman, especially work and balance. This is all applicable even for whether men or women. It is required to have a perfect balance. When I say balance, it has to do with all the factors like mental, family, work, financial, leisure, spiritual, physical. All has to come in equilibrium. It's something like you have to perform like a joker. It's you are given a uni-wheel cycle and asked to balance. But even when I say joker, everybody feels like laughing. But as a project director, sometimes we have to laugh out at certain of things happening. Then only that is one way of taking out or going forward. So that is, we do, project directors do the joker's job also. Then coming to the time management, we need a triple constraint, that is to do with the scope, the resources, and time factor. All three has to be in tandem, and along with the risk involved, we need to make the project success. When we say the project success, as I mentioned, the user requirements has to be satisfied. We need to complete the job within the scheduled time frame and within the scheduled budget, and should be fully accepted by the user. So it all depends on the project director, how fast and how well it can be done. Then comes the final as the product, which is, as you all know, the quality has to be of utmost importance, very critical as far as we work on designs of nuclear systems. So starting from design to validation, testing, and using proven the process, everything has to go through all iterations of development. So to enhance this product developments, we go through different methods, industry participation, academia interactions, outsourcing, consortium, because we started our career where our industry ecosystem was not there to do capabilities to design and develop these type of systems. Today, this scenario has changed, and lot of capabilities of concurrent production, design in-house, even by industries. So that ecosystem has come in our country. Next. Yes, everybody wonders, do scientists, if you carry one bag on your shoulder and walk around. That was the picture of scientists when we all joined. So, but do scientists have stress? Or the educational institutions, the professors, do they have stress? I am sure all of them agrees that that's a part of parcel of every individual. So scientifically, stress is defined as force by area, where the force is the terms where time pressures, uncertainties, competition, and setbacks. It's external to an individual as far as the stress is concerned. But there are, what is in the denominator, the area, that is applied on the individual person, where it gets affected on your physical strength, mental strength, the emotional strength, what I mentioned, and the experience. So you need to come out of this stress. You need to counter both the force as well as the area. So we say in our scientists, who is well built can take more stress. Means physically, mentally, and emotionally, your strength has to be there, and along with, when I say experience, the knowledge, know-how, and know-why. Then you can beat any amount of stresses. So as a director, as while mentioning, I had the privilege of being director of the lab where all Agni missiles were produced, in which the responsibility comes not only development, production, infrastructure for the storage sites, user interactions, proving the systems at multiple levels. I think at a time we were interacting with more than 400 to 500 industries, and that is the time when we were developing them. So the interactions and the knowledge sharing, the effort in making them come to our level of achievements, it was a marathon effort of multidisciplinary activity, team management, complete system know-how, technical arguments. There will be opinions of scientific nature, knowledge management, analytical ability, perspective thinking, and decision making, prior detection of faults. So we all learn in technologies, systems can fail, but at the same time we have to have the fault detection logics and preventing or fault mitigations. So in onboard computers we put all these factors, and of course all type of pressures, be it physical or like political, all type of pressures comes when we are working for this type of strategic nuclear systems. So I just put one stress levels, that is a scientist at the beginning. When I used to imagine myself as a junior scientist, scientist B, way back in 85, 86, we didn't have AC rooms, but the director used to comfortably sit in AC rooms. That's what the feeling we all had. And I used to feel we slog in our room and we work, but director is enjoying. I have also gone through the same phase, came to as a mid manager level, when we find we have juniors and seniors, all type of stress comes from both. So managing with the peers. Then I also was fortunate to sit as director in the chambers of where our seniors were sitting. So when we sit at the chair and take that responsibility, only we'll come to know even they were sweating while sitting in an AC room. So that is the type of stress sometimes it comes on the people who are on this type of research. So I will share some of my Agni experience. One need to deal with situations. I was fortunate to work for the Agni class of systems starting from its developmental stage. So for the development flight trials in 1989, we were working on the established type of technology on liquid propulsion systems, where we can terminate the thrust either by switching off either oxidizer or the fuel, which are liquid systems. So it was easy to manage, but the systems was so complex and bulky, and carrying, it was not a field operational systems wherein which handling those explosive type of liquids was very difficult. So that's where we started looking into new generation of Agni systems. We started, the first of the Agni series was Agni 2, which is in the second from that, where a solid rocket motor was used. And first time in the country, I came from the background of MTech in guided missiles, learning in theoretical way and practical applications has a vast difference, but we learned through. And Agni 2, the first time I was given the task of designing a guidance law algorithm for a solid propelled system. In solid propulsion, what it happens is it burns from one end of the solid propellant like a cigarette burning, and it burns completely. The propulsion we cannot cut off unless otherwise a physical cutting of this motor. It can lead to many destructive type, like it can give explosion. It's unpredictable, and even then the time required to cut, it's not a physical thing which can happen that easily. So a software, an algorithm based energy management guidance, where the rocket energy is well defined. So I need to work on energy management guidance and then burn it or shape it, the trajectory is shaped on board to have different capabilities. Like, so that is how all this 5 series of Agni, I can proudly say that I was the designer for all Agni class of guidance systems. And presently it is in all long range systems, even the ship based and submarine based nuclear systems. All of them has this same guidance law. It was long struggle in establishing, because it was the concept wise itself, it was very difficult to get appreciated and accepted, because the whatever existing algorithms totally change in philosophy and concept. It was very difficult to be accepted, and I was a junior middle level scientist to talk and approve. There were many iterations of reviews and all. I'm glad that the system has been proven. So we had Agni 2, which has a range capability from Agni 1, a range capability from 300 to 700 kilometers range, and Agni 2 from 800 to 2000 kilometers, Agni 3 from 1500 to 3000. Agni 1, 2, 3 was a different class of technology wherein which we used the solid rocket motors with the metallic casing structure. Where we looked at that system, 50 ton was giving a capability up to 3000. At that point of time, the world class was 50 ton was giving a range capability of 3500 they talk about. So I was asked, by the time I have established my studies in guidance, navigation, control, propulsion, overall a system designer like. So I was asked to look into why we cannot do a system of world class. So I was asked first look into the configuration, change the first stage rocket motor, reconfigure it, and then achieve this possibility. Started working on that. Then when we look at, we need to change the control system. If you see, those were the systems where the control capability was achieved through aerodynamic fins. But beyond a stage of aerodynamics, atmosphere, the effectiveness doesn't happen. And the carrying them, the controllability, the structure, everything is highly complex. That's why it started looking into flex nozzle systems, where the thrust, while along with the thrust rocket motor burning, the nozzle can be flexed to get the controllability. So that then within the dimensions of this configurations, we were not able to configure. So I had to look at the system overall configuration change from tip of the missile to the bottom of the missile had been reconfigured, re-engineered, and then came the Agni 4, where you will find that where I was designated as the project director, fortunate to work on this class of systems where with 22 ton as the launch mass, less than half the launch mass of Agni 3, we could achieve 4,000 kilometers. So that is a technology leap or the technology enhancement which we could do. And we went with a composite rocket motor casing, where when metal casing to composite structure, the structural integrity remains the same, the capability remains same, but the weight reduction was of the order of 40% and more. When I say in missiles of this class, 1 kg weight reduction gives me an enhancement in the range of 4 kilometers to 5 kilometers. So that much. We used to weigh in milligrams. Even the packages or the units are weighed to that extent to get a perfect prediction of what is our capability. Then came the Agni 5. As you know, 2 stages of rocket motors were changed to composite rocket motor casing, and this all first time in the country. Not even the carbon fiber was available within the country. NAL lab at Bangalore was making that in a small scale level, getting and establishing this technology. So Agni came into a success mere because of this composite motor casing technology and the solid guidance schemes which has come. When I just shown the countdown modes here, I was lucky to participate in all the Agni launches, and more than 50 odd missions I was there in the mission control room. It's the amount of stress levels. People say my age or the stress what I have undergone would have created an imbalance in the thing that 10 years of my life would have been at risk. We'll put it a question mark for that. But the type of tension what we go through, while T-minus 18 hours we prepare the missile, it's in every launch it happens the same way. It has to be a book-wise, like minute-to-minute program it has to be. T-minus 7 hours, the range is prepared. Then T-minus 3 hours, pyro arming, all the propellant-related pyros are armed and kept. T-minus 1 hour, the missile system power and health check. When we say the missile health check, it is to do monitor more than 500 to 600 parameters. The pages of information flicks in front of the project director whether okay or not. We have made it a lot of automation, but still you have to be so alert to see whether all the parameters, we have not missed on any of the parameters, as now we have the capability of highlight, and that T-minus 1 hour we say everything is fine. Then T-minus 12 12 minutes, we get into all system readiness, clearance of the launch pad. T-minus 6 minutes, we get into, now we have come down to T-minus 3 minutes also, auto launch starts. Once auto launch, you are all in the console, looking at, we don't have to press any further buttons. There is no activity which we can abort the missions. Prior to that, there was events where any malfunction happens, we can abort the system, launch. The total tension builds up. We all sit like you can see the faces or emojis. All these emojis, it's actually a photograph of my face sitting there, going through this type of. So it's at that point, starts all irreversible activities, the hydraulic pressure systems are activated. So we have even doctors sitting beside. There was an actually event which happened. The BP of the doctors, because all of us are so tensed. It is, the whole console will be like that. And with experience, we have learned how to beat that. Doctor sits behind. So we are all looking for a pressure buildup, hydraulic pressure of 50 ksc. So when one of the electrical integration head was also beside, he was so tensed, nervous, and as if he did all, as if he is going to faint. The doctor immediately took his BP apparatus and started measuring. At that time was the right time where we look at for the hydraulic pressure value of 50 ksc. The scientist in front of told 50 ksc, the doctor also, BP checking, he said 50 ksc. So this is the way we all are mesmerized, or we are all sitting in front of the console. Nothing we can do, it has to go as a single shot activities, and T minus 30 seconds, and T naught lift off. That is the time when we can smile, and we all used to jump like small children. So even the 60-year-old used to jump 5-6 feet. So that is the way the enjoyment happens. Next. So we not only, as an individual, as a project director, I took you through the journey, but we need to learn from the nature. Nature teaches how to be as a team, working like a team. I've just put few of them. You will see the birds fly, always formation flights. So when they do that, when an individual flight to formation flying, it is said that almost 71% enhancement in range is possible. So the one which is taking the aerodynamic load on the front, after some time when that bird is tired, it goes back. So they do that sharing of the workload. That's what I mean by teamwork. And whatever I narrated is out of teamwork. It's leader, as a leadership role, I would have done many things, but the team what makes this happen. So it has to be a spirit of sharing, sense of discipline, and great planners together makes us an achiever. Next. I just wanted to present to in front of you a woman who's in leadership. It's none other than Dr. Kiran Mujamdar Shah. She started her career as a trainee in a firm. Within 4 years, she joined as a trainee manager in Bicon Biochemicals. And within that 4 years, she founded Bicon India as an entrepreneur, started, and with a capital of 10,000 rupees. And in a year, she became that, or Bicon became the first Indian company to manufacture and export enzymes to USA and Europe. I am talking about 1978. Today, that company's turnover is of the order of 8,400 crores. And in biotechnology, she is a leader. So women, the limitless, the capabilities, what a woman can do. So I happen to hear from her experience, what a capability. So we all need, the next generations are here, we need to see much more capable and women achievers to come up. Next. How is this possible? Yes, the final ultimate word is empowerment. A person's performance is, of course, a function of motivation, like self-motivation, the ability, and the environment in which we are. That supports, that gives, these three factors makes us a different person. So how to empower a woman? We need to identify the skills, knowledge, and the experience and the personality attributes of a person. We need to map it for strong leadership potential, develop them with training and education, and then determine what type of, give them all the coaching and expert guidance, feedback, how to handle, then determine the leader's readiness to take higher levels of roles. That is how we need to support the women in becoming more and more empowered. To conclude, I must say, it all starts with no research or no technological possibility is there without education. And basic thing is education. And with education empowers, education creates human rights, education builds a human capital, and human capital empowers women. Empowerment creates the equality. Along with our percentage of population, this can happen if we are all educated at par. Life has to be led, inspired, fulfilled, and empowered. So that is definition of life itself. So women leadership makes a difference. I am sure with my words, you are sure I have proven that capabilities, learning, it's whatever knowledge you acquire, that is what you are in front of other people. So if I can be a project director, a director of a strategic missile systems laboratory, then take on the responsibility of as director general, and I was of the opinion, I was feeling that missile technology is the highest of the technologies. When I was moved with the responsibility of Director General for Aeronautical Systems, where LCA, the light compact aircraft, yes, manned aircraft is one class, and we have unmanned aerial vehicles. I'm not talking about the drones, what smaller ones, we did that. Military capable unmanned aerial vehicles, where lot of autonomous takeoff and landing without a pilot. You need to go for a compact fighter aircraft which will be carrying weapons, missiles, bombs, everything we need to, and then the technology knowledge or the capability what the country needs is multifold. So from top of the world launching missiles, I came down to aeronautical and learned much more. So it gives much more capability, and today our country is looking for LCA, the light compact, one of the best fighter aircrafts in this world, and we have already gone for production of more than 83 order and the previous versions. So there is our own developed systems have gone into the services are asking for it. Now we are looking at advanced medium compact aircraft design and all we have already started with, and unmanned compact fighter aircrafts. This the technology we are wherein which lot of artificial intelligence, lot of predictive algorithms, auto takeoff and landing within the area given for weapon release, everything without a pilot. Otherwise pilot can control or press the button to release. But here the aircraft itself has to automatically decide, identify the friend or foe the aircraft, and then issue the command to release the weapons. So it's a multi-level of automation wherein which the new generations have an upper hand in knowing things better than all of us. That's a generation who has to build this class of systems for the country. Thank you. Thank you for patiently listening to me. Thank you. Come, ma'am.
So the session is now open for a few queries from the audience, please.
Honorable and respected Madam, the present world scenario has shown us that the modern warfare targeting civilian infrastructure, such as warfare including satellite targeting of the human brain dubbed cognitive warfare, might also be constantly used by our enemies. So my first question to you is DRDO also looking at preventing such atrocities which are not coming into the public limelight due to perception issues of the modern medical science? Example, recently the Havana syndrome victims in USA are getting multiple monetary benefits. My second question to you is, do you think that similar targeting of technological advancements in the domain of human reverse aging and breakthrough longevity research would help unify us, since most of us are defending our fundamental existence and fighting our annihilation due to the passage of time?
I think first part is we need to have strategic weapon capability as one factor. We have tactical missiles, tactical weapons. Then we need to have, now the present is pinpoint individualized weapon systems. Probably that is what we are, not looking at mass destruction. And the cyber point of attack, the network which attack. Communication, you jam the communication system. So these are the technology warfare which keeps happening. Multi-layers of networking, and that's part of the, today is anything, sitting at your home you can disrupt some other event. So it's the matter of development of all these technologies. As a country, as a defense requirement, all are part of this. I just covered what I have gone through, like that. And second part of your question, to be frank, I couldn't hear properly, and what was exactly what you wanted to know?
So I was actually suggesting that the recent technological breakthroughs in developed countries like USA, Australia, and New Zealand in the domain of reverse aging in humans.
Reverse engineering.
Reverse aging or longevity. This is a new
aging.
Yes. So such kind of like having a direction in the Indian case also, where people are not aware of such breakthroughs, might help us in unifying us with our neighbors and decrease the friction. That was my understanding, that how we can develop such a directive in the Indian context.
Yeah, we have, as DRDO, we have different fields of working, like we have life science cluster, which takes care of the human factors like aging. I don't know whether at age of 90, how efficient, or you prolong, what is the efficiency of efficacy of the performance. So it is, I do not know how to say, but the biological life science related warfare, you have biological, chemical, different class of things and it can be used as a weapon. So all type of research is happening. If you go through the DRDO website, you may get a feel of what areas we are working. Most of the things will not be discussed in public domains for its own reasons.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Ma'am. In order to ask my question, I am sent to the same feeling. I will ask a question. Means I can ask in Hindi, not so good in English.
No, you can.
मैम जैसे कि आप बताई थी कि मिसाइल्स में सॉलिड्स कम्बशन का यूज़ किया जाता है, तो मैंने रिसेंटली अभी एक मूवी देखी थी रॉकेटरी, उसमें नाम्बी नारायण लिक्विड्स पे जाना चाहते थे। मतलब ऐसा क्या था कि मतलब सॉलिड्स में सॉरी ऐसा क्या था कि सॉलिड्स में स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी में अप्लाई नहीं किया जाता सॉलिड्स कम्बशंस में, वो क्रायोजेनिक लाना चाहते थे, ऐसा क्यों?
Yeah, there's a difference between rocket science is same for the missile field or for the launch vehicles. Dr. Nambinarayan was working in the space ISRO, where those launch vehicles need the upper stages needs a cryogenic engine. That's like we have missiles stages, first stage burns for 50, 60 seconds or maximum to 90 seconds, gives some thrust energy. Second stage, depending on Agni 1, it's only one stage rocket, and we need to go only between 300 to 700. Anywhere, any target mentioned on the earth, for with this Agni classes, 300 kilometers to 5,000 kilometers is possible to be hit with 0 to 360-degree coverage. That's the type of guidance, as I mentioned, it's used. So whereas in space vehicles, large rocket motors, the propulsion requirement, the tonnage, 250 ton, 300 ton mass lifting and going, so the thrust energy required, and it has to, depending on the mission performance, GSLV, geostationary satellites and all, then it has to go through stages of long endurance. Solid rocket motors, what I mentioned, maximum it burns for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of rockets, and gives a very impulsive energy, and we take on further, move on to the surface of beyond Earth. We also climb a height of more than 1,000 kilometers to 1,500 kilometers, depending on the range required. In case of space vehicles, the upper stages has to have long endurance, flying for giving the thrust and flying for more than hours. If you look into moon missions, Mangalyaan and Chandrayaan and all, long journey. So it is giving a sustained thrust for a longer period. That's why this cryogenic requirement. Liquid propulsion also we use in those cases where one stage, second stage may be liquid, where you can terminate the thrust. If it is not completed that, you can take one more stage. So many stages of 4, 5 stages of rockets are there. And like side booster rockets strapped onto the main, if you see any launch vehicles. So multiple ones adds and gives the energy to reach into particular orbits. It's a geostationary, it goes to 30,000 kilometers of height. So that requirement to get to that orbital heights, such high impulsive cryogenic systems are required. Missiles don't use the cryogenic technology because this cryogenic systems operation is within minus 273 degrees centigrade. To maintain that minus temperatures, we need to have a large complex system, cooling systems to carry along. So what I mentioned, in a missile, 1 kg weight if I extra carry, I lose range capability of 4 to 5 kilometers. Whereas a launch vehicle, it is what is required to bring it to particular height altitude. So it can carry whatever ton. There's no compromise, no constraint with respect to the weight of the system. So that it is the requirement of the system. That's where it is done. So we were initially learning the technology of cryogenic from the Russians, and now it is indigenously developed, and production of cryogenic engines within the country has started, and many of the private players coming in.
Hello, ma'am. My question is little non-technical, so I want to ask you that from childhood you are good in academics. So what was the biggest challenge for you as a student in childhood and in your student career? And my second question is that when I first got to know about you, Missile Women of India, so I have a thought that you are not married because you have dedicated all your life in research and for country. So when I went through the Wikipedia search, when I got to know that you are married and you have a son, that was my biggest surprise. So how did you explained in your slides also that stress management and all, but what is your secret mantra, or what is your to manage this stress level in family and in your workplace both?
Yeah. Yes, very easy to feel that by saying you need to balance. I showed you the balance like Joker. Sometimes we have to laugh at our own situations. It's really tough for a woman to take on because our tradition, my husband comes from a naval officer, naval background. He was fully aware, he did the same MTech course, and he knows my responsibility as a designer for this class of systems. Full family support was fortunately with me. I am like bringing up the child. If child doesn't perform well, then it is reflected on the lady, the mother, why your son is not doing well. So that is what it matters. And to our luck, with my son Tejas, he was an independent boy, learning. He was studious. There was no problem. So only when he was in the 8, 9 higher standards of schooling, there was always a coaching center, that everything, all other parents puts, we also have to put. So the effort, the day used to start at 5 o'clock early morning, make his tiffin for his tuition coaching, he'll be dabbas to be prepared. And I never had any hesitation. Even today, a cooking competition is put, I will win it. Because that is the way I take cooking also. I never learned cooking till, because we were 6 children, 5 girls in my house. So we were, while doing schooling, there wasn't much challenge. Enjoy the schooling, with very attentive to the class. I used to like science, maths. So that was there. Very attentive in the class. We didn't have any distractions also those days. So learn from the school, get back, do your homeworks, things. Then you are your own person playing around or whatever you could do. So learned that. Engineering onwards is the tough life of learning, because starting with engineering, mathematics, gray wall, and the book size itself becomes so big. So the fear comes. That's where we get little bit stressed. All this we have to read. We'll buy all type of books. The libraries were very few in number to give us also. So everybody cannot get the books issued. So some of us buys. The books are kept under our pillow only, not even turned sometimes pages. That's the way we learn. Today it's not like that. You have an upper hand in knowing technologies through computers, and the systems are like that. So at a faster scale you can learn. Our time, yes, if you are determined that these are your priorities, set a priorities. Like as I mentioned, the day used to start at 5 o'clock in the morning. God willing, the energy was there to do till late evening, 10 o'clock. So my day used to start somewhere coming back from office around 9:30, 10. That's the time I used to feel relaxed, switching on the TV, and I used to watch the Star Plus, all Hindi serials. I must tell you, so whatever I have undergone the whole day, it's all relieved or wiped out. Just, I don't even know which serial is happening, but I'll only look at the TV and relax for some time. Seeing that for some time, I myself will get, but good serials, I remember all the serials, continuously see for some time till I get the sleep, so that night it doesn't rebound in your mind. Next day again fresh, get up. So I used to teach sometimes maths, being like my son used to feel that the logarithmic tables and this thing. And it came, he was asking, Mama, do you know this? Then I just told, what is that so difficult? Show me. And I explained, you have learned all these things. He has such a innocent query when he was in 7th, 8th. So I said, yes, I am also an engineer like you. learned all these things and come. So that is the way we had a good family support, and both my mother and my in-laws side, all of them have been there with me. And mine was a tough career. I used to come back from one duty, get back even at office, continuous. Our launch campaigns used to be initially runs for 1 month in an island. They take you to an island where we cannot, the boats are all managed by the senior officials, and we will not even get a chance to get out of that island unless otherwise we complete our activity. Even after launch also, people like a project director, we ensure that none of them runs away without completing the post-flight analysis. So it's like that. How do you prioritize and takes it? That's all. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. My question is, in the current scenario, like as you told that AI is also going to be an integrated part of the upcoming technologies with the missiles. The point is that not only the women, but even for the men, why a person who is capable enough, or like it's more related to brain drain question, that if someone is given a chance to work with tech giants and being paid very smartly, so what's the government's plan, what's your plan to attract those talents, especially the women, so that they can be a part in nation building? Is it only the nationalism factor which can bind us towards there? Because if we go from the money wise, it's quite less. So what are the plans and what are the incentives that are being planned from the government side to provide to every student, not only women, especially for the women, what are the plans?
Yeah, there are many encouraging steps, scholarships, internships, women-oriented guidelines are available, if you see. So that is one part of motivating them to join. You see, they may be topper in the science stream, but does not continue. So every of your activity has to start from your own home. You can also think how well you treat your own sister, if you have a sister. Like we all give a biased approach, so that those influence of this bias feeling has to go away. Then only the girl child can feel that I am at par. And as I mentioned, it's the knowledge. Like unless otherwise, I also had tough times when I am assigned to the project director job to know the whole system knowledge, and very senior, 2-3 cadres in, like I am a scientist F, G, H, outstanding distinguished scientists are at technology levels as leaders, going and getting the work done from them. It's again a question of, but when they know that you are knowing what they are knowing, so they accept you as a scientist. So that is where you need to be at par in knowledge, and being a scientist, we need every moment is a learning curve. So we have to be updated to the present knowledge. So if you are willing to learn and acquire the knowledge, there's nothing. I always say that science has no gender. Girl or boy, at par. So that's the way we have been groomed in our DRDO. I was fortunate to take up my career under Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was the director. Is one person who has inspired all of us, openness, sharing knowledge, and talk in front of whatever your technology in front of all the scientists, experts. So this is how we need to come up. And government supports with scholarships, and there's no percentage reservation. Maybe some of the colleges may be giving that upper hand. Otherwise, learning equal opportunities are provided. It's up to the girls to make or mark that difference by learning at par with men around. That's all.
Ma'am, one more question over here.
This would be the last question in the interest of time.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, despite of all these research, research going ahead, and we, our India has sufficient human resource, but the export from the defense from the Russia or from the USA is improving day by day. So, in what futures we are lagging behind, either in terms of research, either in terms of money. So, where we are lagging, because the economic, the defense import from the West is improving day by day. And the amount going to the contribution for the defense is improving much and more, more and more every year. That is why Agni Way scheme has been introduced, so we can reduce this defense expenditure in terms of pension, so we can introduce a lot of money into this research and all these things.
Yeah, that's why if you see the present government gives lot of importance to Atmanirbhar Bharat. What those words mean, that we need to make our own systems develop. So, how do we achieve that? See, if I talk about 30 years before, that we say that our country will not import any more systems, then it is something nonsense we were saying. Because today, the ecosystem is that a country is capable of not importing certain of the things, maybe very technology and raw materials and things are processes are not established, like example of electronic fab for IC chips. A country has not yet come to the mark of requirements. So we depend on such things which is commercially well available. Rest of the technology which revolves around, we are now at par with the other Western worlds. So we are also looking at exporting defense systems. So defense is something where like Akash systems, BrahMos, when the joint venture, and nobody will sell Agni class of systems. Country will not look at selling such things, because these are all, there are certain categories of things which we can sell. So that we are already started taking. There are not to be imported list of items are there, 104, 101 list. So country, no one, even the private industries cannot, because these are all products developed in some way or the other, the built-in. So that is where we look at technology. And today the ecosystem of our industrial capabilities also have come. They also have started the infrastructure. DRDO opens out the all facilities for everyone to come and use. So these are all, otherwise nobody even to enter the gate of DRDO, there was procedurally so many hurdles. So all is now, the thing is that, like Western, we'll see that defense industries, government used to fund, and they are all defense industries. Such an environment will keep coming within few years. I'm sure within 10 years, the global environment, all our industry ecosystem will be totally different and world class. It's going to happen, it will happen. Thank you.
So we close the speaker session. Thank you all very much. I think a big round of applause to both the wonderful women who have given us their inspiring stories, and I hope you continue to inspire everyone around here. Thank you so much. Over to Commander Jaitley. Dr.
Singh. Thank you, ma'am, for such a interesting and wonderful talk. Thank you very much. Now I request Commander Jaitley, sir, to hand over you one book from our silver sponsor, Mr. R. N. Khanna, and other book is from himself. So he's also writer, entrepreneur, speaker. So please.
और इस बुक के बारे में ज़रा एक बार थोड़ा सा और बता देता हूँ। R.N. खन्ना जी, मैं उनको दिल्ली में मिला कि सर ये कॉन्फ्रेंस करनी है, वुमेन्स लीडरशिप कॉन्क्लेव, तो खर्चा तो चाहिए होता है पैसे। उन्होंने 1 मिनट नहीं लगाया, 5 lakh rupees from my side. Immediately, 5 lakh. इनफैक्ट टाइम थोड़ा कम था, अगर कंपनी की तरफ से होता तो 10 लाख दे देते वो, कहते मेरी पर्सनल तरफ से 5 लाख रुपये ले लो. सो उन्होंने बोला. Now, such great IITians are there all over the world. And let me request Partho Ghosh ji, another great IITian, please come on the stage, sir. आप अपने हाथों से ये किताब दीजिए उनकी, और पार्थो घोष के लिए जोर से ताली बजाइए. He has donated $1 million for the Partho Ghosh Academy. Please give a big hand, Partho Ghosh. So, and Partho Ghosh is a globally renowned leadership mentor to so many countries, so many Forbes 500 top companies. So, I think it will be my privilege if he hands over my book also to Madam Thesi. अब मैं आपको एक और बता दूं बात मैडम के बारे में. पिछले दिनों आपने देखा होगा चाइना में काफ़ी ज़बरदस्त लड़ाई हुई थी हिंदुस्तान की गालवान में, तो हमने खूब मारा था उनको बुरी तरह से, मालूम है? सबको मालूम है? आज अगर चाइना सबसे ज़्यादा डरता है या पाकिस्तान डरता है, मालूम है किससे डरता है? मैडम से. सबसे ज़्यादा डरता है मैडम से, कि जो मिसाइलें इन्होंने बनाई हैं और जो अनमैन्ड व्हीकल्स, दे विल कैरी दोज मिसाइल्स, अंदर जा करके घुस के मारेंगे उनको. सबसे ज़्यादा डरता है मैडम से. So that's really great. And now let's have the other presentations. And may I request Madam Foolan Bhasan ji, please आइए आप भी स्टेज के ऊपर. मैडम आप भी आइए, हमारे टॉप लीडर्स आप भी आइए. We are celebrating the women leaders of this country. So हमारे सामने जो बैठे हैं कृपा करके आइए ऊपर.
So now it's our time to give a small memento to Dr. Thesis Thomas on behalf of the organizing committee, Partho Ghosh Academy of Leadership. Thank you all. So now we are about to, close the session. So before we actually close, I would like to call upon the founder of Partho Ghosh Academy of Leadership to give his outlook and future roadmap of the academy. So I would call upon Professor Partho Ghosh to share his thoughts, his vision.
Good afternoon to all of you. My congratulations to all the organizers for such a great event. The profession that I represent, I attend such conferences all over the world, from Harvard University to Caltech, from Tokyo to Tsinghua. But I must tell you, this is the best conference I've ever had on leadership. The individuals who spoke, from Kiran Bedi, Ms. Yadav, Ms. Agrawal, Ms. Roy Chaudhary, and of course you heard the missile woman, maybe that's the best description of yours, Ms. Thomas. I think you got a glimpse of the space, you got a glimpse of the village India, You got a glimpse of what it takes to go to the top of the Mount Everest. You got a glimpse of education. You got a glimpse of being a law enforcement officer, being a police officer, being a sportswoman, running a state or running Pondicherry, which you heard. What is disappointing, though, I'll be very honest with you, if such a rich conference was organized in any university, this house would be full. So my request to the students who have attended today is to explore why. What do you want out of your life? Because what you learn from them is passion, particularly when I was listening to Ms. Yadav, with all the difficulties she had to face in village India, which is still 70% of India. She fought day and night to take forward her vision, her thoughts, and then create an organization that we should be very, very proud of. And she still works very hard. She's sitting there for last 2 days, consistently taking notes, and that's what makes a difference. That is one aspect of leadership. Leadership means being determined, not being overtaken by any obstacle, and in the process keep fighting the obstacles to find your way forward. And the way forward changes, the world changes, and you should be learning, continuously learning, unlearning, and relearning so that you could take forward your dream. And sometimes the dream may shift, so be it. You have to keep fighting. And the dreams will shift because we are living in a knowledge-intensive society. What was good knowledge yesterday becomes irrelevant tomorrow because new technologies come and you have to learn new things. So my request to the youngsters in this room that you should go back to your halls after this session, not right now, to ask, what did we not do right, the organizers? Because I know we worked very, very hard to organize this session. Brilliant speakers came from different parts of the country in spite of the busy schedule. But somehow, you guys did not understand the importance of this. That leads to my second point, why the academy? You know, when Ms. Thomas was talking about the competitiveness of the India's defense system, you know, I've attended a lot of conferences over the last 30, 40 years. There was always a feeling of optimism. Yes, we'll get there. Even we talked about our President Abdul Kalam in his book, Vision 2020. There was a sentence there which touched me, but at the same time, I felt a bit sad. He wrote in 1996, Vision 2020, India would be a developed country by 2020, if not earlier. But you know where we are. So what was the missing vector? The missing vector was leadership. That you have to be responsible for who you are. I'm speaking to myself as well, I'm not talking to you. And be accountable, which was touched when Kiran Bedi talked about the T mantra. I don't know how many of you remember that, but I've taken notes. Particularly the point about accountability, that's the last A, is extremely important. Be accountable to yourself. That people who were playing with the iPhone, in spite of commander saying that you should switch off your iPhone, you not only insulted the conference, you insulted yourself. Great leaders know how to honor the God has given in you. And how do you honor that? By honoring every moment where thoughts are exchanged, where ideas are exchanged, and you absorb them so that you could create a better country, better society. And that's what the ladies who spoke yesterday and today did. So this is the message you have to take forward. When I looked at the last session, which is I'm right in front of you, the question was the path forward. So let me spend the next 5 minutes what I have learned. I've taken a lot of notes, by the way. My pockets are full of notes. I don't know how much notes you have taken. And I teach a course on leadership. But what I find interesting, that every conference I go, I learn something new. And then I try to merge that with what I have learned, what I have taught, what I have practiced over the last 35, 40 years. And there's always room at the top. There's always the dark area that you could explore. And you have to develop that attitude, and that is what will be the challenge for us. Ms. Thomas is right, we could become competitive, but we can only become competitive if we are working at a speed with attitude faster than the way the Americans work, or the way the Chinese work and the Japanese work. In China, I addressed a conference at 9 o'clock in the night. You wouldn't believe, and it was not as well organized as this conference. And the students were given a notice of only about 3 or 4 days. But I was traveling to Beijing. I informed Tsinghua University that I'll be coming. They said, Mr. Ghosh, could we organize a conference? I had a very packed schedule. I was only available from 9 o'clock in the evening till 10:30 in the evening. They organized the conference. The auditorium was full. Why? Education place is a place where you want to learn. You want to learn from all the people who presented their thoughts. And there's so many things I learned. Why don't you have the desire? That would be my question. And you are supposed to be the best of the best, and that's why you are here. So I'm being very honest that you are here because you are the best of the best, but then you have to demonstrate in your behavior that what does it mean, being best of the best. So the way forward for this particular initiative that we have started, which we call the Academy of Leadership, is a movement. It is a movement to create a better India. And to create a better India, we need people like you to better yourselves so that we can be better. Because if I do not do things on time, why will you do things on time? So it's important when a meeting starts at 10 o'clock, you start at 10 o'clock. We become available at 9:55. And there's no excuses. And when you create an excuse why you couldn't come, you are basically exposing your helplessness. You will come up with an excuse, oh, this was not working, that was not working. But great leaders, and I met many of them because of the profession I'm in. I've dealt with about 15 prime ministers. I've dealt with about 100 CEOs around the world. There's one common denominator. They are like them, the speakers who spoke yesterday and today. They're passionate. They hold on to what they believe in, and they continuously make course corrections. They learn. They honor time. They honor individuals. They're humble, and they're always ready to learn. And you are students, you are in a better position because you are here to learn. But how come you miss out such opportunities? That's the question you should ask yourself. And if you don't change the course, unfortunately, I have to say after 20 years, I just wrote a book which is India Towards 100, A Need for Reset. And why I spoke about reset, the reset in our attitudes, that we want to be productive. We are not competitive. You know, one of you raised India, why is India importing? We are importing because we are not competitive. And why we are not competitive is output per unit time. You know, I think you talked about nanograms that you have to manage. You have to manage nanotimes. And to be managing nanograms, we have to be conscious of all the details. We have to be conscious about our time. You have to be conscious about the gift God has given you. But I think we have somehow lost that consciousness. I'm being very open with you. And the role of the academy is to build up that consciousness. And that's why the academy is built on Vedic philosophy, because Vedic philosophy is all about inner search, inner consciousness. And Western philosophy is all about measurement, which is also important. We have to manage nanoseconds well. We have to manage nanograms well. You have to learn how to measure and deliver. That's why one of the reasons I think the Western world has done well, because they know how to measure and deliver. Incentive, very transactional. But in the Eastern world, we have got something more, which is if you honor your inner conscience, if you honor each other, if you honor nature, automatically measurement becomes natural. So I think the path forward that you have laid out, I feel very encouraged that we are doing the right thing. The messages were clear that we have to take this country forward. The country has the potential, has great personalities like Ms. Yadav, great personalities like Dr. Thomas, great personalities like Mrs. Rai Chaudhary, great personalities like Ms. Agrawal. That was absolutely touching. In spite of all the odds, she went to the top of the Mount Everest. And then she went to more difficult places in North America, which is very difficult to climb, not as high. So whether we are talking about physical fitness, spiritual fitness, intellectual fitness, I think the challenge of the academy will be to develop our fitness of our inner self. Then we'll develop a nature which is fit. Charles Darwin used to talk about survival of the fittest, which, by the way, I reject. And you should have the courage to reject, because that means that only one species would survive. I talk about fitness of nature, that many species should survive, and we have to create a harmony between species, harmony between different faiths, different ways of thinking, different ways of communicating, and in the process we create a symphony of life. So I think we will take it forward. I think we have a wonderful chairman, we have a wonderful vice chairman, we have a great team. I think it's a humble beginning, but you know, Harvard University started with 4 individuals. There were 4 students. They did not look for alliance, they did not look for tie-up. Today everyone wants to tie up with Harvard. Our academy would not look for tie-up, we would like to give, because we have a model which is based on Indian philosophy. We would not be great because Harvard Business School is tied up with me. In fact, why it motivated me to start the Academy of Movement, or leadership movement, is because I was disappointed with what Harvard Business School is teaching in name of leadership. And that's supposed to be the best. So that's an opportunity for us. That's why people will come to India. If you want to really learn leadership, go and meet Ms. Yadav. I would, in fact, want her to be one of the faculty members. Ms. Yadav, you have to teach what you have learned. Please translate for Ms. Kiran Bedi. While I was having lunch yesterday at the lunch table, committed that I would like to participate in the process. So people are very eager, that you have to be eager, and this academy will be good, not because we have imported people from Japan or United States or UK, because we are exporting what we believe in style. In style means what? You start on time, every details works, even the flower looks beautiful, the momentous go out on time, and that's what you have to implement. We cannot just walk in 10 minutes after the conference has started. That means you're not serious about yourself. Forget the conference. You're not serious about yourself. So my humble request as I finish would be that become a bit more serious about yourself. Honor yourself. If you say 10 o'clock, make it 10 o'clock. If you say 5 o'clock, make it 5 o'clock. But do not, please try to avoid what I think brings our country down. And I can tell you, I'm being very honest with you, because I compare our country with other countries all the time. And with a little bit of pain, because we see talent on one side, we have rich philosophy, we've got so many talented people like Ms. Thomas and all the speakers who spoke, but yet, you know, it's $2,000 per capita country. China is $20,000. United States is $60,000. Norway is $100,000 per capita. Why? That means output per capita has to increase. Output per capita has to increase. You know, the soccer match is going on right now, FIFA. Many of you are watching, but do you ask a question, why am I not there? It takes tremendous amount of work to be there. You see those players, and I also ask myself, you know, how come I did not aspire to be there? Though I used to play a lot of soccer. I played for IIT when I was a student here. So I think with that, I would like to thank all of you for being so kind. I was extremely honest with my thoughts. I'm extremely grateful to Mr. Jaitley, who has been the inspiration to everything that we have done. And thank you for honoring the whole of your own IIT with your presence. The director is not here today, but director's encouragement, support is there. Everyone we have spoken, by the way, in IIT, we are very serious about this effort. And of course, as you know, the chairman, Mr. Vashni, the vice chairman, Trilok Singh, and their staff, thank you, madam, for also helping us out, has been working tirelessly. And this is their part-time job, but they work 200% for this. And that's the spirit. You know, last point I want to make, great leaders know how to stretch their time. They work 28 hours a day, 8 days a week. I've seen that. And I can go on with my many, many stories, but stretch your time. Stretch your inner conscience, stretch your dream, stretch your skill base, stretch your attitudes. You will find a much better world around you. It is not about watching TVs. It is not about watching another soccer match. If you're interested in soccer, you have a wonderful sports complex. Go start running, not 2 miles. I've been jogging 7 miles for the last 3 days, every day. About 3 times I do, about 2.5 miles in the morning, 2 miles before dinner, and 2 miles after dinner. It's possible. And we have to be fit. My slogan these days with reduced slimline, expanded chest, the world is yours. So with that, thank you very much indeed for all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for this encouragement. And we are at Academy. We are blessed that you are guiding us, encouraging us all the time. Whenever we are in trouble or we're in doubt, we always approach you, we text you, we call you, and we get always a solution of any sort of problem. Thank you very much. And we will again, from our side, from chairman and vice chairman side, we can give our 200%. But as a world leader, we will need your blessing all the time. Thank you very much. So before we close, I request all the delegates, please come on stage so that our volunteers, organizing committee members, they can take a photograph with you all. Yeah.